Evening, darlings, and welcome now to episode 15 of Greenwood Talks. I can't believe how many episodes. Of course, I say that every week, but it really is just so mind-blowing that you all just keep submitting things every week, and it's really just so amazing. And of course, 15 means that next week will be our fourth month, 4 months now, of videos, which it still doesn't even seem real, honestly, darlings. It really doesn't. So thank you all again, of course, for all of your submissions, and even those of you out there who just reblog or like or subscribe or anything that you do to support me. It really just, I don't think people always understand just how much that can mean to me. So thank you all again so very much, and cheers, darlings. Now, I am going to get to the question, don't worry. It's a very short one and not too serious, so I feel like we can sort of talk a little bit about some other things too. So I do want to let you all know, of course, that things have been getting sort of busy for me, and so I'm sort of trying to do all the videos in one point during the week. I just do all the videos for about a week or week and a half, and then do them again, just because I've been having so little time, so I can only set aside really one evening to do them. And of course it makes me sad because I really miss back when I would do them every single night, so that we'd have a chat every night. And so I just want to let you all know that's sort of what's going on. So if things sort of seem unchanging for a whole week, as far as sort of my outfits, or if you've sent me an ask and you sort of answered a question that I'm a week later just sort of getting to, I do apologize for that. It's just sort of the way the timing works out. So without further ado, let's just get on to the question now, darlings. But again, thank you all so much. It really does mean the world to me. So our question from an anonymous person says, King Thranduil, thank you all for the videos that you make. I really enjoy them. I was wondering if you could give me some tips on how to stay cheerful at work. Well, darling, that is a very difficult one, isn't it? Because, you know, work can be such a dreadful place sometimes. And I'm not sure what line of work you're in, darling. I don't know. But sort of if you have those public service or food service or retail, these sort of jobs where you have to deal with people a lot, but then you don't really get any return for it. In fact, sort of it feels like you're being punished. If that's a sort of job that you're in, of course, it's incredibly difficult to sort of stay happy in the face of all the things that you'll probably be experiencing. So I would say try to find little things that cheer you up. Inside jokes with coworkers are a great way to sort of get through it, you know, particularly if there's sort of a customer or a client or whatever it may be that really irks all of your chains. I would say try to find some way to, with your co-workers, you can sort of play little games. Nothing mean-spirited, darlings. That's not good to put that sort of thing out into the world. But sort of light-hearted things, you know. I've done that myself in the past, and it does really sort of help you to get through it. And of course, if there's others suffering the same as you, there's sort of a camaraderie that comes along with getting through those terrible days with those awful people, you know. And of course I understand there are some co-workers that you just don't want anything to do with for one reason or another. They're just awful, or there's so many possibilities. I won't even get into them all. So I would say, darling, that play little games. It's always a good way. You know, go out drinking and talk about your day, whether it's with a co-worker or sort of a family member or a friend. I think these sort of things help us to, you know, to bond, of course, obviously, but also to sort of let go. I find, and this is of course just me personally, darlings, but when I've had something sort of stressful or awful that's happened to me, talking about it sort of distances me from the event, and more so even than that, sometimes it feels like I'm giving away that part of myself. So if it's something particularly painful, I really am losing that, and it's no longer a part of me, and it sort of lets me just be free of it, which is quite a wonderful thing. So if you can talk to people about it, of course, darling, I do recommend that. Even if you do have little inside jokes and whatnot, it's just nice. And beyond that, pardon my squeaky chair that I hate, I would say just try to find any little thing about your job that you like. Um, I know that sometimes that's sort of impossible, so I'm going to give this advice again. Who knows how many times I've done that? I think early episodes I might have given this advice, but not recently. Your gratefuls. Always do your gratefuls, darling. Particularly if there's sort of um, something very bad that happens that day. I find at the end of the day, before you go to bed, just sort of, or at the end of the workday with your coworkers as you're sort of ending your shift or closing the store or business, what have you. Come up with 5 things that you're grateful that happened that day, whether it's the workday or just in general. And if you focus on doing that every day, you sort of become a little more positive even about those negative things. They just don't seem to bother you quite as much. I think psychologically, when you focus on the things that are going on that are bad, even if they're overwhelming and it's sort of hard to get away from them, if you can shift at all, even the smallest bit, to sort of concentrating on anything else and those things that are positive, it sort of changes how you feel, and sort of the small little bothersome things end up not being so bothersome. They still are the same, but you're able to sort of look at it in a way where that doesn't bother you any longer. And I find that to be quite lovely. So I hope some or all of this can be helpful for you, darling. And thank you, of course, for your submission. And have a pleasant evening. And I will try to get back my chair that unfortunately, I sent all of my good chairs along for a charity event. But until then, we'll just have to make do with this little squeaky chair. Anyhow, darlings, ta-ta.